All right, it's 12:01. Let's go ahead and get this started. So, welcome everybody for Intiva's Lunch and Learn for October 2023. I'll be your host again, Ted Brown at Product Management here at Intiva. And today we're going to be talking about Power BI and give a little bit introduction to this service. I feel this is a underutilized service in Microsoft portfolio. And I feel some reason because it's very vast and it's very verbose, it has a lot of information you can gain from it. People are kind of hesitant to dabble in it. Now, I want to show you some key aspects of what you can take advantage of really quickly from the information you already have in your organization, so you can gain some key insights as well as produce dashboards where your other employees and other key individuals of your organization can take action on based on the information you already have developed within your solution set today. So today we're going to cover Microsoft Power BI. What is Power BI? Go into the Power BI workflow, get into the Power BI service and how it's different from the Power BI desktop. And there'll be some demo here at the end so I can kind of show you exactly how this looks. Just like other lunch and learns and webinars I've done in the past, please use the Q&A section for any and all questions, and I'll answer the questions at the end of this presentation. Also, if you have any suggestions for any topics you want to learn more about, please put it in the Q&A section as well. I'll go ahead and consider them for other future webinars we're putting together as we kick off the 2024, which is really odd to say, as we kick off that season to figure out what we want to plan to present on that in future webinars. All right, what is Power BI? So Power BI is a collection of software services, apps, and connectors that work together to turn various sources of data into static as well as interactive data visualizations. It's a unified, scalable platform for self-service as well as enterprise business intelligence. Some of the key aspects come into this is the data visualizations you can gain from Power BI. Now, this allows you to create impactful reports by turning raw data into engaging visuals utilizing industry-leading leading data analyst tools. You can create dashboards and data sets from any data sources you have and centralize them in a trusted, secure hub. Now, once you have this information and data visualizations, you can now have the ability to have accessible insights. Now, Power BI enables everyone at every level in your organizations to make confident decisions with the up-to-minute data analytics you have. You can infuse insights into the apps you already have, like Microsoft 365, while safeguarding your data. Now, what are the key aspects of this solution? So Microsoft Power BI consists of several key elements that form the Power BI service. Now, the first one is actually the Power BI service itself, which is the online software as a service application. Now, this is a platform where you can publish, share, and collaborate on reports together, and it's accessible via a web browser. You also have the capability of utilizing the Power BI desktop, and this is a Windows desktop application for creating reports, visualizations. You can design your data models as well as create visuals and build interactive reports here. This is a more robust way of working within the Power BI service. You can create your data connectors and making sure if you bring in multiple data sources together, you can connect them together based on the information you have. So I think the Power BI service is a good way to get started, but as you get into the system itself, you'll definitely want to start utilizing the Power BI desktop, and I'll show you a little bit of difference in that within the demo I have. And now once you have this information, you have the Power BI mobile apps, and this gives you the ability to publish applications for people to see on iOS and Android devices to allow people to access this information as well as interact with this information while they're on the go. Now, the typical workflow within Power BI is first, you have to have the data sets that you want to get the information from. So you really want to import the data sets that you're going to work from. Now, once you have it imported, you're going to create reports in the Power BI desktop or Power BI service. And this usually is going to be a designer that's going to start creating reports from these services you have here. You'll connect into your data connectors you established to begin with, clean, manipulate the data, and then design the data visualizations. And once you have a design, you're then going to publish these visualizations to the Power BI service. This will be creating reports and publishing them so you can have everyone access it at the same time. And once they're published, you can continue to modify the reports and create additional dashboards for people based on the visualizations you have. Now, once you have it published, people can work within the dashboard itself. You can utilize the Power BI service to create the dashboards by pinning visualizations from reports. And the dashboards provides an overview of the key insights you want people to gain from this information. And then once you have that information already established, you can then share it out to the individuals. Now you can share this dashboard out to colleagues, manager, and stakeholders, and they can interact with the dashboards in Power BI service or on the mobile apps to extract the business insights you're trying to deliver based on the visualizations you designed. Now, there are a couple key aspects with the Power BI service. The first part is the data source itself. Now, Power BI uses the Power Query to connect to the data sources. The data sources can include various categories such as your files, databases, or the other Power platforms, which allows you to create these data sets by connecting into existing data models you have. You can also connect into external hosted solutions such as a SQL Server Analyst service or Azure Analyst service that allows you to connect live connections to your modeling investments, such as some various data enterprise data warehousing. They connect into all the data. So with that said, let me show you a little bit of how to connect into your data itself. So I'm going to switch over here and come into a demo I have for Tomorrow's Firm today, which I've used a handful of times already. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Microsoft 365. So this is the main section of the portal. You have all your apps right here. You can search for your app, Power BI. You can see the little icon right there and select it. And I've already have it open right here. So when you get into the Power BI platform, this is the basic look. Now you have at the bottom, which is called your workspaces. This is what you're going to work from and design your data sets, as well as figure out what you want to do for your reports and dashboards to present and share out to others. So when I click into my workspace for the first time, it is blank. I haven't designed anything here. So the first part I want to do, like I mentioned before, is you want to establish a data source. So I'm going to click on New and come into the data set. This is going to be the data source, and it's going to ask me what I want to start building. Now, if you're utilizing the Power BI service, which is not the desktop version, you only have a handful of options here to import from. You have your Excel, your CSV, or you can actually paste manually into an Excel looking format. If you want to have other sources, you need to utilize the actual desktop application and bring those in. So for the example of this, I'm going to use Excel. Now, I did create a test file for this. I have finance right here. This is a financial data set that might mimic a sales type solution, sales export from an ERP system, but gives it general information about how the company is selling information to various segments, where the country it's sold to, what type of product it is, was there discounts involved in it, the units sold, etc. So really just some information you probably have within your ERP system. Now, I'm going to try to import this into the system here. I'm going to hit Excel. And it's going to ask me where I want to grab it from. So I have this shared in my teams, and I'm going to click on General and click on my Finance one and click Import. Now I'm doing a little bit of demo here. It's going to tell me I cannot import this in because the data is not formatted as a table. Really key aspect of this, when you put information into Power BI, it has to be formatted as a table. So you can either do an insert table, do a Control T, tells you how to do right here to make sure you grab the information in correctly. So I'm going to go back in. I've already done that step. Come into my Teams group, go to General, click on my Finance 2, and click Import. So it's going to bring up here what it is doing. It takes a couple seconds to bring across. And once it comes through, I'm going to see in my workspace now that I have a data set to work from. So there is no dashboarding to work from here. Out, back in. So just having the data set here doesn't make it that you have an actual dashboard. So I can have my data set right here. Delete these two from old ones. Delete. So here's my data set. So this is the information I pulled over from the Excel file. Now that I have the data set in there, I can make reports, do some quick insights. And that's what I want to show you next, which is basically putting in the quick insights. Now, the quick insights feature, I recommend try this out because it does do a great job of automatically generating interesting visualizations based on the data set we just installed here and downloaded. It uses various algorithms to search for trends within your data and also provides up to 32 separate insight cards with charts and graphs, as well as short descriptions. And from there, you can actually pin these into your dashboard for further exploration. So by clicking into the data set right here, I'm going to go ahead and click on this link and then click on Get Quick Insights. And it'll do the same thing. It'll pop up here saying searching for insights based on this file set here. It takes about a minute or two to go through, brings up View Insights. So from that file I had, which looked like this, within what here, I've been doing this demo for about 2 or 3 minutes, I can click on View Insights, and this will do a great job of graphically representing the data we have in here. So quickly I can have all this information as charts I can put into an executive summary or report up to a board. I can pick out what I think is most relevant to me based on the data itself that I want to present on. So you can see here the units sold and sales of where they've come from, how much they cost, the average sale price based on the segment of business. So now that I have this information from the insights, I got to figure out what I want to do with them. So I want to then think about, how do I want to present this data? How do I want to kind of correlate this information to tell a story? And that comes putting this information into a dashboard. So with each one of these cards, I have a pin button up here. So I think the average sale price by business segment is an important thing I want to present on. I'm going to click Pin Visual. When I click on Pin Visual, tell me, what do I want to do with this information? So what I want to do with this information is I want to actually create a new dashboard for this. So I'm going to call this an exec dashboard and hit pin. So I only have that one pin, but there's probably more in here that I want to go through. So I'm going to take a look at here, what other information I think is more important. I like the units sold count segment. I'm going to go ahead and pin this to an existing one. I could create a new one if I thought that was important. I like my discounting. I'm going to select this one. And I'll go ahead and pick one more. Count by product. That sounds great. So I'll go ahead and pin this one in here. So now I have the 4 informations pinned from the Quick Insights button I clicked. Again, was able quickly to get that information by clicking that one button to have all these dashboards appear. So now that I have that information, I'm going to click back on my workspace. And what's going to happen here is I have my data set that I have the information from, as well as the dashboard we just created from the Quick Insights. Now, there's probably more information I want to gain and learn from this data set. And you can do that by creating reports. Now, the creating reports is a multiple perspective view into the data set you saw that you actually have. With this visuals, it allows you to represent findings and insights from that data set. You can have a single visual from these reports, or you can have multiple pages full of visuals and allow users to explore the data and discover insights. And it's also interactive. So I'm going to come back into the data set itself. I'm going to click the 3 horizontal buttons right here. And it allows me to do other selections. Just previously, we did the View Insights. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a auto report. So I'm going to click on auto report. Now, this is pulling in the data from the data set. I'm going to select pre-select data, and on the right side, it will bring up the columns that we have within the data set itself. So I'm going to bring up this list of view. So you can see here I have segment, country, discount, manufacturer, units sold. Click back in here and you'll recognize that these are in here as well, units sold. It also does a calculation of summing all that information up. So this is a quick summary based on the country and where information was sold from. So it did a quick report on that. I can manipulate this information to change it to the report of what the information I want to present on based by changing what data sets I'm bringing in. So maybe the country is not important for me what I'm trying to report on. Maybe it's the product. I want to see the product and the unit sold and see how that looks. So I can see here's my Paseo, my Velo product and how much they sold from. So for me, this told a story that I'm trying to present. So now that I have here, I can go hit save this one. Go ahead and call it product sold. And hit save. And that will create a report for just that product sold version. So now that I have this in here, I can click on the 3 horizontal button up here and pin that to a dashboard as well. So I can pin this back to that same dashboard I had for the View Insights and click on the executive dashboard and pin that directly in there. The piece I like about the reporting aspect of it, you can actually click within it itself, and it will tell me information based on my selection. So here's my Paseo. I can see where the countries it sold in and how much it was. So I can actually click into this as make it interactive and actually find information by selecting the information within the report itself. Or maybe I want to have another report of coming in and grabbing discount bands for my products. And I want to save on this one. And what I'll do here is I'm going to jump back into my workspace, come to my executive dashboard. And now I have that dashboard that I created here from put the insights I had, as well as the report I just created from here. Now, with the dashboard, this is, I feel, one of the most important parts after you, of course, establish your data, because the dashboard is what is a multi-perspective view into the data sets that you have. Now, this allows you to create a single page, which often people call a canvas, that allows you to present the visualizations and tell the story of the information you're trying to present on. So the dashboard is really the key aspect of all this, is how you want people to utilize the information, as well as tell that story of all the data you have collected. Now, once you have the dashboard in here, it's not static as far as making sure the design is correct. So you can manipulate these, because each one of these are actually boards you can shuffle around and make sure it makes sense to you. You can actually grab the corners, elongate them out, and make sure that the layout is important to you to make sure you're telling that story correctly. Now, what you're seeing here is it's just a bunch of pictures, but where is the title? So when you start working with this, you want to make sure to add what's called a widget. So I'm going to come here and click on edit. I'm going to add a tile, which is a tile widget. Allows you to put in a text box. You can bring in an image if you wanted to, but for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and use a text box. And we are going to call this in the content exec summary. I want this to be a little bit bigger than this. So let's go ahead and put it Arial Black. Put this up to 36. And I want this centered and hit apply. So once I hit apply, where you're going to come down here, scroll down, you're going to see the exec summary pop down here because I created it last. I can grab this, slide this up to the top of my presentation or top of my dashboard, and pop it in to make sure it makes sense. Now, of course, you can add some more information to the summary, describe a little bit more of what the dashboard is supposed to provide. You can actually put in here some comments to let people know if there's something else within here you wanted to let them know about. So it gives a lot of information here to provide to people utilizing this dashboard. So the key part is here making sure designed correctly, make sure it looks good to you, to make sure you're presenting the information correctly to your individuals. Now, once you have designed correctly, then you can actually have people share this out. You can share this out to team members, allow people to see it, allow people to subscribe to the dashboard to utilize this dashboard itself. So really quickly, within about 10 minutes of time, I was able to take information you probably already have within your ERP system, import that into Power BI, and create an executive summary to give us insights into business sales that are happening. So I'm pretty sure that's something that can happen really quickly within your organization to take advantage of this Power BI solution, to kind of get your toes wet and kind of get the brain turning about what other insights are out there, what other data do I have in my organization, so I can compare it and then make quicker decisions based on accurate information. So this has all happened within the Power BI service itself. And as I mentioned, there is more robust options within the desktop. So you can install the desktop version when you have Power BI. There's a little download button up here. If you click on the download, it allows you to pick on your Power BI desktop. I've already done this for this sake of the demo. So I have my Power BI desktop right here. Now, when I open it up, it opens up fresh. There's nothing in it. There's no connectors. It hasn't connected back into the Power BI service, but it does have the authentication to gain that information. So very similar to the Power BI solution, Power BI service, you have to first import the data. So I can either import the data from my Excel, SQL Server, I do the blank or try a sample data set or get from another source. You also have up here, get data. So I'm going to go ahead and click data. It'll bring down a Dropbox. And now from here, I'm going to click on my Microsoft Fabric preview, and allows me to pull in from the Power BI data sets I already have. So I already established the data set using the Power BI service just a second ago. I want to pull that information into my Power BI desktop. So I'll go ahead and click connect. It'll go out here and find that finance too and hit connect. So I'm able to manipulate and work on the same data regardless if it's on the Power BI desktop or in the Power BI service. And now I have my data sets. You can see here, I have my data information right here, and I can build my visualizations however I want. So let's go ahead and select some visualizations we have here. So I want to create maybe a pie chart here or a bar chart. I'm going to gather some information. Let's go ahead and do product and sale price. And pop it in. There you go. Maybe I want a little pie chart here, kind of show where everything happened. That looks good. So when actually you created the visualization, once you get it set, you can click out of it and click into a separate location and create another visualization if you want as well. So I can create another pie chart if I wanted to. And I want to do discounts, discounts for products. And then if I want to bring in another chart, a column chart, bring that in here, grab it around, then grab in the data. Let's go ahead and do country and units sold. And it brings it in here. So now I have another visualization that I'm creating. I'm creating really just another dashboard. And once I get it created within the Power BI desktop, just like I had to do within our Power BI service, I need to actually publish this. So I'm going to come through and click publish. And when I click on publish, it allows me to save it first. Demo test. And it's going to ask me, how do I want to label this? I want to put it into the workspace where you have. Click on select it. You might have multiple workspaces to choose from. And now it's publishing this information into the solution set itself. So now I have the ability from that service to take a look to see at that data set, the dashboard we have created. You also have a little view down here as well of doing a mobile layout. So you can take a look to see how this makes sense if it is a mobile layout. Let's go ahead and try it out. So I can grab this information here and bring it in to see how it's going to look on an Android or iPhone, manipulate it around to grab certain things to kind of see how it looks and where I want to land when people are utilizing the mobile apps. So I think it's very handy to come in here to make sure that you have the design correctly for the PC, as well as if your organization's using the mobile app option, to make sure it works correctly on the visualization so it pops through and gives all the information you're trying to present on. So now that it's been published, let's just pop back in to see if that made it over to our workspace. I'm going to go ahead and click on my workspace here. Click on refresh. And it's pretty quick on getting here, so it should be here after I saved it. And there's my demo test. I can click on my demo test. This is the one I created from the Power BI desktop. And you can see here, it brought in that report there. So you can utilize both services, the Power BI desktop as well as Power BI service, to create the same information. It's just when you get to the Power BI desktop, you're going to have a little bit more ability to manipulate your data. You have ability to come into modeling view and bring in multiple data sets to do some comparisons. So if you had some extra data files in here, you can combine them and create a actual linkage between the files so they can actually talk to each other. So you can gain insights from all the multiple file sets you have and create kind of like a database hierarchy where you have a key between each one of the data sets to build information on and create further dashboards and reports through utilizing the information. So very handy to use the Power BI desktop, but just getting started, check out the Power BI service, very powerful as well. So now that you've seen this information, I want to make sure you understand the licensing componentries within it. So to utilize Power BI, you first can try the Fabric free license. Now, this is included free for Microsoft Fabric Preview. gives you about a 60 or 90-day trial to allow you to create these rich interactive reports. However, you can't share this data with anybody else if you're trying the free version. If you like what you see, you can utilize the Power BI Pro license, which costs $10 per user. Or if you're utilizing Microsoft Office 365 E5 or Office 365 E5, it is included within that license set. And this provides you all the free services, the modern self-service analytics for published reports, everything I showed you, as well as the dashboards. And it does require, it does allow you to publish and share reports. There is a higher level of Power BI. You have the Power BI Premium per user. This gives a cost, this is at a cost of $20 per user per month. It includes all the features of Power BI Pro. However, it also allows you to access larger model sizes. It gives you the ability to have more frequent refreshes, which is important in how much information you're bringing in and when you want the information to update to the latest set of information. And it also has some enterprise scale features. Lastly, there is a Power BI Premium per capacity. This is about a $4,000 fee per company to go in this direction, but it enables all the content for every person in your organization to consume and interact with the reports. It includes all the features of Power BI Premium per user, and it's also available on a capacity basis. So it is very rich, offers a lot of services, but for the most part, I recommend people take a look at that option number 2 for the Power BI Pro license as they're getting set to utilize this. Is the monthly commit as well instead of going to the annual commit, so you can just try it out to see what makes sense. But you can also take advantage of the free license up front. Very easy to get enabled and then access information, try it out, throw some Excel files into the system, see where you can quickly pull information out. And it doesn't have to be a large Excel file for information to be presented within it. So you can even have something that only has like 6 or 7 lines in it, but still have the graphical representation, as well as having that interactive capability when you click into the reports itself. So that's all I have today for Power BI intro. I feel we're going to have a lot more we can talk about in the future as we get into the further, get into the weeds a little bit on the further options you can utilize Power BI set. But I hope this kind of gets you your taste going and you try it out back at your organization. So I'll open up for Q&A sections. Anyone has any questions,